Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to new video, and today we're gonna look at this beautiful palette from Gourmand Girls and Students by the Bunny. This is the Hunted palette. I will shortly show you the close-up of this palette, swatches in different lighting and stuff like that, so that you can see how beautiful she is. I think this is my favorite color story so far. I have the Nightshade palette and the Spooked palette, and I think this one is the best. And if I didn't have the last two, I think this one would be enough for me, and I wouldn't need all the other two ones. But it's beautiful. It's like yellow, green, purple. It has everything. I love the cover art. It's so fun. I love Halloween makeup. This makes me so happy. I originally wanted to do 5 look video, but it's gonna be only 4 looks, and I'm gonna post the other looks on my Instagram as the week will go, because I just don't have time to film the 5th look and release this video on time, and I kind of have to release it today, so that's that. I bought mine on Monolith, as well as all the other Gourmand Girls palettes. So I will link Monolith site as well. They've actually had it almost like a week before this released. I think I bought it Sunday and it came Friday 15th, which was the day that this was releasing, I think, if I remember it correctly. So that was really cool. That was probably the first time that the European customers got their hands on something quicker than the American ones, which was really fun, and I was really happy because usually we have to wait for like a month at least to even get it here, and then obviously it has to ship from Monolith. So I was super happy. This is the only palette that I picked on Monolith this month because I know a lot of things are coming and I need to kind of restrain myself a little bit, because the Udens Eye release is fun, and I'm really happy about that. Then we have a lot of like the Unearthly releases. I can't wait for these and all of that. Like, it's gonna be so much fun, and my wallet's gonna kill me. I already know that. But when it comes to this palette is really, like, the color story is amazing. It's really well curated. You have 8 mattes and then 5 shimmers, duochromes, multichromes, and regular metallics, and 1 satin. Technically, I think this one is also kind of like satiny, but this one is definitely satin, the shade Spectral. The shade Eerie is just slightly less shimmery. It kind of reminds me like Colourpop shimmers. It's very smooth, very pretty, but it's not as metallic as the other ones. And I really like the color story, and I love the shifts. So the shade Ghostly is like a lavender shimmer with kind of yellow and green speckles in it. Then you have the shade Jinx, which has a pinky purple base, but the sparkle, like the shine, is actually blue, which is gorgeous. Then you have the shade Apparition, which is kind of like it looks turquoisey in the pan. On the swatch, I don't know if you're gonna see. I'm obviously gonna show you like a proper swatches, but it has kind of like different speckles in it. It has green, blue, purple, maybe a little bit of yellow. It's a very fun shade. It's not as wet looking as the other ones, but it's so pretty and it's so like special. Then you have the shade Unearthly, which is what I have on my lid, and I have Ghostly in my inner corner. Beautiful. And the shade Eerie, as I said, it's actually a little bit lighter on the eye than it is in the pan, and it kind of reminds me the shade Apple Bob from the Spooked palette. This one might be a little bit darker, than the shade Apple Bob, but otherwise it's very similar. Overall, I really love this color story. I just don't think you have to have two yellows and two greens. They're not the same undertone. This yellow is a little bit more lighter, pastel-y, and this one is a little bit more neon-y. But honestly, if you build this up enough, you're gonna get the same color, so I don't feel like you completely need it. And this one is pretty similar to the yellow in the Nightshade palette. The Nightshade only goes a little bit more maybe green in the undertone, but it's very, very similar, so I don't think this was needed. And then this shade Obsessed, it's very similar to one of the shades in Spooked palette. I will show you comparisons. And I don't know, do you really need two greens that aren't that different? Either this could have been lighter and more like pastel-y to have a difference there, or I don't know, obviously there are different undertones. Like if you would mix this yellow with the purple, I think it would turn muddy, so maybe this one would be better option. Again, this green could work with the purple better than this one, again, because it will turn muddy, because these two are a little bit more like a grungy colors. They have that little bit more of, I don't know, they're very saturated, whereas these ones are a little bit more like pastel-y, I guess, a little bit less opaque, so therefore they're easier to blend into other colors. Obviously you have matte black, that's always in those palettes. And then there's this gray shade, which is kind of similar to the Nightshade gray. I'm gonna show you how they look like side by side. The Nightshade, I feel like, looks a little bit more like green gray, and the Haunted looks a little bit more like purple gray. But honestly, they're super similar. And yeah, I think that's the main differences. I was kind of worried that the shade Ghostly will be the same as the Dream shade from the Nightshade palette. I don't know if you can probably see that, but thankfully they're not all that similar. They have definitely different undertones and different shifts to them. But yeah, I understand people who were complaining that this is pretty much the same color story that they had in the Spooked and Nightshade palette. It's not the same color story. I feel like it's as if you mixed Nightshade and Spooked and slightly changed some of the undertones and some of the finishes. So it's not completely like, you're not gonna have dupes, but at the same time, some of the differences aren't different enough. You know, some of the shades aren't different enough to actually be able to see it on your eyes. But I still bought it, and even though I knew that it's probably gonna be super similar, before I bought it, I saw Steph's Makeup Stash. I think that's the name of her YouTube channel, and she also showcased the comparison swatches, so I knew what I'm getting into. I feel like overall I would use this color story more than the other ones, just because it's essentially two palettes in one. But I love all of them, and it's the same quality. The mattes are so easy to use, so blendable, buildable, really quick to use. You don't have to fuss with it too much. The shimmers also beautiful, sparkly, wet looking. This one, well, okay. I like my inner corner highlight to be a little bit more lighter than what is usually in the Gourmand Girls formula. In the Gourmand Girls' palettes, at least the three that I have, because this one is satin, so then you only have this shade, and then maybe the green, but honestly, I feel like I would need something a little bit lighter. I mostly like kind of more iridescent inner corner highlighters that are like super shiny, super sparkly, but more white based. But that's just me. and I can always go for a different palette for that shade. But overall, I really like this. You have different finishes, so as I said, there's some like really sparkly, really wet looking shades, like the shade Unearthly and the shade Ghostly. Then you have more like not as opaque shade, which would be the shade Jinxed. Like even if you swatch it, you just see a little bit of like a pinky purpley base, but it's mostly just like a wet blue sparkle without too much base color to it. It reminds me one of the shades from the Serpent palette. Let me actually hold on. It reminds me one of the shade from this Serpent palette, and that's the Immortality. It looks different in the pan, but it also has kind of like a pinky purpley base, but on the eyes it just looks like a wet blue sparkle. So that's that. I just wanted to show you like comparisons. Or there's one shade in the Flower Moon palette from Ensley Rain, and it's this one, Sprout. I don't know if you can see it. Also, kind of, this one is more like reddish purple in the base color, and it also sparkles blue, and it's just like a really wet shade. So that's the comparisons. I feel like when it comes to this shade, and this shade, you probably would be able to find something super similar in the Ensley Rain formula. Just to throw it out there now that I think of it. But yeah, I really like this color story. As you can see, it also has a lot of similarities. I'm gonna try to show you. Yes. No. Yes. It has some similarities to the Serpent palette. Again, you have like yellows, greens, purples, kind of more berry colors. So they are quite similar, and I'm probably gonna actually use them together because I feel like they could be really nice like companion palettes. So again, if you have this palette, you wanna save up, maybe you don't need it, especially if you have the other Gourmand Girls palettes as well. So that's just for comparisons. As I said, the formula is beautiful. It's the same one. If you have any of these smaller palettes, it's the same formula. It's just as beautiful. It's just as wonderful. If you're a beginner, you will have a lot of fun time. It's not too hard to use it. If you like colors and you're a little bit more experienced, it's still amazing and it's buildable, and you can go kind of softer and you can go dramatic with this as well, which I like. And I like that they're kind of small, they're super tiny, like, you know, they don't weigh anything as well, so if you want to have them for traveling, they're perfect for that. I think I've took this book with me once traveling, and it was just perfect because it's really nice palette. So I think that's kind of the main points I wanted to make. In this video, I will show you all the looks. I will show you first this look, which is the last look that I've made with this palette. And then I show you all the other looks. I've created two kind of more wearable looks because I wore them to work. And then two looks that were kind of like this, you know, a little bit more fun, a little bit more colorful. Not so basic, I guess. So I'll show you those. And as I said, I will feature this on my Instagram, Get Ready With Me's. I will probably use it with the other two palettes or with my other palettes because I usually just mix and match. And yeah, that will be it. So hope you're gonna enjoy all the looks that I created, and thank you so much for watching. And let me know if you have this palette or if you have any other Gourmand Girls palettes. I would definitely be happy to know that and see what you think about them. That would be really nice. So without further ado, let's jump right into the next looks. Hey guys, so this is the last look that we're gonna be creating with the beautiful Haunted palette. so far I've used pretty much all the shades. I only need to use this shade called Supernatural, and then this satiny shade called Spectral. Spectral. So we're gonna get into that, and I've already primed my eyelid. Originally this was supposed to be a 5-look video, but we're only gonna do 4 looks, and I'm gonna post the 5th look tomorrow on my Instagram probably, or some other time, because as you're watching this video, or the day that I uploaded this video is the day that I'm creating this last look, and I just wanted to post this video today, and I didn't really have time to, because I just don't have any other day to post this. So yeah, we're gonna have to improvise a little bit, but I will post a lot of looks with this palette till the end of the month, because I wanna be able to review it properly for my monthly haul. So I will definitely, you'll see a lot more looks with this. So we're gonna start with the shade Horrify, this one, in the inner like third of my crease. This is a beautiful shade. I'm kind of it's always really sad when you get rid of the imprint in the palette, because they're so cute, especially like the little tombstones and stuff like that. I'm taking a Sigma brush. This is one of their it was in one of their sets, and this is the smallest one. It's called Soft Blend number 10, but I don't remember what the set was called. I think it was like 5 brushes. And yeah, we're gonna just put it here in the first like third or half of the lid, or the crease. And this is beautiful shade. This is very like a grungy, mossy kind of dirty shade that I'm really enjoying. I love the second half of the palette, like this half of the palette. I think this color story, even if this was just 8 pan, it would be gorgeous. So really happy about this. Love the mattes here and the shimmers too. They're all amazing. It's the same gorgeous quality that they've had in the Nightshade palette and in the Spooked palette, which are the other 2 palettes that I have from this brand. And I've worn 2 of those looks to work. I spent Friday, Saturday, and Sunday working, and I was working like, I was at work for approximately 10 hours, but I was wearing the makeup for something about 14 hours. And I really, I had no problem with any of the shades. It didn't crease or anything, and I was super happy about the way that they performed. And also the looks were super quick to do. So now we're gonna take this Supernatural shade. It's such a beautiful kind of like vampy berry color. It's really pretty, and this color together with the kind of more neony yellow, or with this grungy green, I don't know, there's something about that combo that makes me super happy, and I just wanna try it, wanna wear it. I'm definitely gonna, in this video mostly the looks were kind of normal, or you know, like everyday, because as I said, I was wearing it to work. So there's gonna be this look that's a little bit more colorful and crazy, and then the completely first look that I created with this palette, which I'm not sure in which order I will put these looks, like what order they're gonna be in, but there's gonna be one more kind of a little bit more crazier look, or you know, a little bit more fun look, and then there's gonna be 2 more normal looks, at least the way that I do makeup and how I classify my eye looks. Maybe they're gonna be all crazy for you, but this is just kind of how I think about that and how I classify that. And these, if you've never tried Gourmand Girls formula, I've only tried these long skinny palettes that they've made with Doodles by the Bunny, because they're awesome. But the mattes here are just so gorgeous. They're so easy to work with. They're very pigmented. They're so, like, they're blendable, they're buildable. I feel like whether you're a beginner or you're skilled at makeup, you're still gonna have a great time with this. It's one of those formulas that everybody can enjoy, and it's just foolproof. It's really easy to do, and I love the color stories. I've posted on my Instagram stories the day that I got this palette. I posted on my Instagram stories the swatch. I swatched this palette and I swatched the other two, the Spooked palette and the Nightshade palette, and I kind of showed you the differences or the similarities in some shades. So I tried to kind of dupe this palette with the other two palettes, and I was able to do it pretty well. I mean, there were only like 3 shades, or maybe 4, I'm not completely sure, shades that I feel like are almost exact dupes. They're super similar, and the undertone isn't different enough for you to be able to spot it on the eye. If I wore one of the shades on one eye and the other on the neck, on the other eye, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference, even though in the palette they have slight difference, and also in the swatch. But they're just so similar that on the eye, because it's such a small area, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. At least I don't think so. But there's still some other colors. So there are a lot of similarities. I feel like if you have the previous 2 palettes, you don't absolutely need this palette. But if you love spooky makeup like me, if you like this color story, for me this one is probably the best palette. If I didn't own the first 2, let me rephrase it. If I had the last 2 on my wish list and never bought them, and this came out, I would buy the Haunted palette and not buy the other 2, because I would get most of what I need from the first 2 palette in this palette. But I love the formula, I love all of these colors, and these are the colors that I wear the most probably, so I don't mind having it in 3 palettes. I feel like the Haunted will be the most used palette for me, because it's kind of all in there together, but they're all beautiful and I will use all of them. Especially, like, I feel like these palettes are amazing for traveling or anything, because A, they're small, they're really easy to pack, and the looks are so easy and so effortless and so pretty. And I also love the shimmers that they really last on the eye the whole day, and I don't have to worry about creasing or anything like that, because that's a little bit of a, I don't know, I'm used to it because I have hooded eyes, I have oily eyelids, so it happens, but I prefer if it doesn't. So now we're gonna use this black shade. I didn't swatch the black in the comparisons, because all of their palettes, or all of these 3 palettes, have matte black and it's the same black. But I don't mind that, because I feel like most of the time you need, well, if you're gonna do a little bit more spookier, grungier look, you probably need matte black. So we're gonna use it. It's called Trouble. Also, I've had a little bit of a accident yesterday, and the shade Bewitched got a little bit like broken, but just a little bit, and yeah, I'm so sad about that, but you know, I'm clumsy, so that happens. And we're gonna put this in the outer corner, just deepen it up there. This is such a pretty combo. I just really love these colors together. This makes me so happy, and it also just screams Halloween and spooky season for me. And I love Halloween makeup and like spooky makeup, autumn color stories. There's so many new releases coming. I think my wallet will be really sad at the end of this year. And I kind of wanted to like save some money, but I don't think I will be able to because there's so many fun releases. And when it comes to autumn or Halloween color stories, I just can't help myself. They're so pretty. And I'm the type of person that pretty much wears like autumn colors or all year round. So I just rename it. Like a couple of days ago, I've made this like pumpkin-y look, and I'm pretty sure I made very similar look in summer, and I call it sunset look. So you just slap a little bit of a different sticker on it, but it's the same look because I just love these. So yeah, now I'm just kind of going back and forth with the brush that I used for the berry shade. This one is also Sigma, and it's the diffused blend E24, and I'm just trying to blend the black into the berry color. I really like the black here in all of the palettes. I think when it comes to black matte, Gourmand Girls has the best formula. It's just such a good pigmented but easy to use black, and that's pretty hard to do because sometimes either the black is too pigmented and it gets everywhere, and you have black eyeshadow all over your face and it's just a mess, or it turns gray because it doesn't have enough pigment. This one is wonderful, and I really like this formula. So yeah, if you want a black matte that is easy to use, especially if you aren't really used to, because I feel like before this I only had one or two other matte black shades, and those were in Uden's eye formula, and I don't love that as much as I love the Gourmand Girls. This one is a little bit easier for me to use, and I've just kind of this year I've just kind of started to do a lot more darker looks. Before that I was more in the mid-tone category, and now I also experiment with like really dark looks. A couple days ago I did my first like full-on black smoky eye look, like the first time in my life. So I'm still trying to like learn how to use these things properly, and this one is so easy to use, and I've never had problems with the black in the Gourmand Girls formula. It's always super easy. And yeah, so if you're a beginner or if you've never really been into dark looks and you want to try it, I don't think you're gonna have a problem with these with this palette. Now I'm just gonna repeat the same thing on my lower lash line, so let me just do that and I'll be right back. Also, I feel like if you have the previous two palettes, they're gonna be a really great companion palettes to this one. You know, you can take this one and then either of the other two, and you're gonna have a really fun color story. I feel like the Spooked palette goes a little bit more neutral, a little bit more like everyday, because there are especially the mattes there are mostly neutrally, and then you have some fun shimmer shades, and the Nightshade is very colorful and doesn't have a lot of like neutral or like a little bit more wearable shades for most people. So I feel like you can kind of mix them and match them together, and you know, just play with them all together. And I usually use more than one palette for a look. Pretty much the only time I use one palette is either if it's really big and it has most shades, or if I do this type of review videos, because I want to use all the shades and I want to showcase them all. But otherwise, for my regular makeup looks, like everyday makeup looks, I usually mix and match and just kind of create my own color stories, and I don't mind that. That's why I don't mind smaller palettes. I actually prefer smaller palettes over big palettes because I can always mix them and like create my own perfect combination, and I don't have to. I get confused when I have big palettes. When I have small palettes, I can just kind of see see a couple of shades that I like, and then accompany them with another shades from another palette. You know, like it's easier for me to see color stories that I want to use and to see like the options that I can use, if that makes sense. I don't know, I just get confused if there's too much options. So now we're gonna put the NYX glitter primer. I've been pretty busy in the past couple weeks, so I'm sorry if like my Instagram and my YouTube were a little bit more boring and, you know, empty and I wasn't as active. I'm also really sorry if I didn't really respond to a lot of comments. I tried to respond to everything, but I've had a lot of things, especially like school wise. I have to finish a couple of subjects and, you know, just get ready for the next school year at uni. So it's been a little crazy. So I'm really sorry if I wasn't really responsive. Now we're gonna take the shade Unearthly, which is beautiful. There's something about this palette that reminds me the color story of the new Basic Witch palette from Bella Beauty Bar. When they first released or sneak peeked the Bella Beauty Bar Basic Witch palette, I was like, oh, it's the same as the Nightshade. And then I saw swatches. I'm like, there are a couple palettes that are there are a couple colors there are a couple shades that are in this palette, which I was like, do I need the Basic Witch? But it has witch in the name. It's purple and green and orange and all that, and I just need that. So I'm probably gonna I'm gonna have so many orange, green, purple shades in my collection by the end of this year. But that happens sometimes, and they're my favorite colors. Oh my god, I love this. I love kind of this like dark berry shades mixed with these like really sparkly greens. I don't know why, but that's just a combo that makes me happy. Or I also really like doing like a darker green base, like a matte crease with darker, more like mossy or forest greens, and then use pink shimmer on the lid. I don't know why, but those are just the color combos that always make me super happy. And I'm really glad that I can have that kind of color story here, because I know I always like when I see those colors in the palette, I just need to use it. And this green is gorgeous. I feel like this green kind of reminds me one of the green shade in the Merry Christmas palette from Odin's Eye, and that's one of my favorite shades from Odin's Eye probably. So this undertone really makes me happy. I recently posted a video where I ranked all my green eyeshadows in my collection and like the palettes that have green eyeshadows in them, and just kind of talked a little bit about why I like them, what's the deal. And if you've watched that video, you probably noticed this type of undertone is my favorite shimmer green. So super happy. The green that was in the Nightshade was kind of more yellowy one, and in the Spooked it's more like a poisonous green that's also satiny. So I'm really happy that with this palette I have the perfect green shimmer for me. And the other green shimmer is also pretty, but it's a little bit more satiny. So it's really good for like the outer half of the lid where you kind of want to connect it a little bit more to the matte portion. But on the shimmer, I just prefer when it's a little bit more sparkly. And you can see how it looks beautiful when you like put it over the black portion. It's just, I don't know, it's super pretty. I love it. I'm really sorry if I'm kind of rambling. I'm in a really weird mood today, so I'm sorry if some things that I say don't really make sense. But yeah, so that's that. And now I kind of don't know if I want to use this on the lower lash line and in the inner corner, or if I'm only gonna use it on the lower lash line and then I'm gonna put this shade in the inner corner because it has a little bit of a green kind of shift to it. Or maybe we could also use, oh, this one is a little bit too dark for inner corner. I'm gonna start with this, the shade Spectral. I'm gonna start with that. I'm gonna put it in my inner corner and on my lower lash line, and then we'll see if I'm gonna top it up with something, because this one is satin. It's not, it doesn't really have a lot of sparkle. The other one, the shade Eerie, which is kind of like a darker green, this one I would still classify it as satin, but it has some sparkle to it. The Spectral, I didn't really notice a lot of sparkle, at least when I was swatching it. It's a really smooth shade, which that usually happens with satins, but I just prefer when they're really like metallic and wet looking, or like really sparkly, shiny. I'm not too keen on satins. That's what I was looking for. And I've decided that I'm gonna use the shade Ghostly on the inner corner. It's a beautiful shimmer. I think I only used it on in my inner corner in the previous look, one of the previous looks, but it's beautiful and I'm definitely gonna use it on my whole lid one day. So, oh, this is so pretty. It's so sparkly, it's so wet. It's beautiful. It's very like lavender-ish color or like shade, and it's beautiful. So beautiful. I feel like it's gonna look great with all the shades. Like it's gonna look great next to the green. It's gonna look great next to the yellows and obviously the purples, and also the kind of turquoisey shade. I feel like that would also look really pretty. So I believe that you can't go wrong with this shade. It's just so pretty. So here you can see the finished look. I'm really happy about the way it looks and the way it turned out. And I really love this palette. It's absolutely beautiful. So I've used this waterline pencil to finish this look. This is the Revolution Streamline eyeliner. I've bought these like a week ago. I bought 3 colors. I have orange, yellow, and blue. I think I've used all of them in these clips. I'm sure I used the blue one. I'm not completely sure about the yellow, but yeah, I've used them and I quite like them. Obviously, review will be up in a monthly haul or something, but I just wanted to say that that's what I have. Then I used the falsies surreal mascara from Maybelline. I've been trying this one out for the past like 10 days or so, and I used the Loreal gel intenza eyeliner, this like pot eyeliner. And then I have the Revolution Fast Base Blush in the shade Peach on my cheeks, and the She Glam Chroma Glow Bloom Liquid Highlighter in Flying Comet. So that's it. I don't know if you'll see any shift, maybe slightly in the inner corner. I don't know if you can see, but it has like a lavendery, it's like a lavendery color that shifts kind of yellowy green, kind of more like, actually more like minty green now that I look at it. I hope you can see it in the mirror. It's a really fun shade. So yeah, that's it, and now let's go to the other looks. Okay, so for the second look, we're gonna start with the shade Horrify in the like second half of my eye. Then we're gonna use the shade So Haunted, which is this like kind of more grungy yellow. And then we're gonna deepen it up with the shade Scare, which is kind of more like a grayish color that's really good for deepening the looks. And then I took the shade Apparition, which is this like turquoisey shimmer. I actually really like kind of these yellowy greens with the turquoises. And then I used the shade Eerie, which is that more like satiny shade, and I used that on the second half of my lid. I of course used NYX glitter primer underneath it, that's for sure. Then I used the shade Obsessed in my inner corner because there isn't really light shade that I could use for this. And then I just finished the look. I put mascara, then the Streamline eyeliner in the shade Blue, and that's kind of the whole look. It was super quick, super easy. I've tried to show you in different like angles and with flashlight and stuff so you could see how extremely sparkly this is. Then for the third look, I started with the purpley shade called Bewitched in the outer part of my crease. This one is really pretty shade. Then again I went with the gray shade called Scare, and I deepened it up a little bit, and then I also used the black shade called Troubled in the absolute outer corner, just to really give it like proper depth. And I wanted this look to be really like dark and, you know, grungy. Then I used the pinky shade called Jinxed. This one has a lot of blue sparkle to it, so you can see that it kind of looks a lot more blue than pink or purple. And then I again used the Apparition shade in the outer edge of my eye, just because I thought I'm gonna go fully with the blue theme. And then I went in with the shade Ghostly in the inner corner to just tie it all together. I used my Suva UV taffies and the blue waterline. And this is how the finished look looks like. It's really fun. I really like it. It's kind of more like grungy, dark, spooky, and yeah, I really love this look. I think those shades are beautiful, and it's definitely a little bit different than maybe what you would see as like the first option with this palette. Then for the last look, I started with the shade Cursed, which is that more like lighter green in the outer part. Then I used the shade Obsessed again in the inner part of my crease. And then I used the shade Horrify to deepen it up. I was working that day, so I needed something a little bit more work appropriate. And also I had to get up pretty early, so I needed something quick and easy. And this is like, I can do this even without looking. Then I used the shade Eerie on my lid, and in my inner part of the lid I use the shade Unearthly because it's kind of more yellowy and lighter, and so that's in my inner corner and also in my inner third of the lid. And here's the finished look. I just put mascara on and eyeliner, and I really like this look. So let me know which look was your favorite. I know this is kind of a longer video, so I hope that's okay. But let me know which look was your favorite. Let me know if you want to pick this palette up or if you already ordered it. And I hope you have a great day, and I will be happy to see you in my next video. Bye!